Well, good morning. Wonderful place to be on a Saturday morning. I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me, Jasmine. Okay, so Dr. Harris did a lot of lectures with this map, and I was fascinated by all of those out of Africa arrows. I knew pretty much about the Americas, but all those arrows that went in other directions I found fascinating. And I wish he were here so I could get on his case. Because one of the things that I've said to him is, he makes me tired and poor. Because he's an historian, right? So he could just go to archives. I'm an anthropologist. I have to go to all those places. So I've been trying to follow all of those arrows that he put on this map. And obviously, one of the arrows was to India, but that wasn't my first arrow. I started doing research in Brazil. And like everybody, I started in Bahia with the Yoruba culture. And whoops. Yoruba culture in Bahia. And that was a good place to start. It was also good that I didn't just stay there, or I would have not understood that so many African cultures met each other in the Americas. So this is Minas Gerais, and this is kind of the balance to Bahia, in that the culture of Minas Gerais is much more Central African than West African, but not exclusively. So right now we're in a brotherhood of well, it's a kingdom, actually, Kingdom of Mozambique, O Reino de Moçambique. So you may not know that there are kingdoms in Brazil, but there are. You may not know that there are kingdoms in Mozambique, but there are in Minas Gerais. And this, it's Catholic. This is Afro-Catholicism in Minas Gerais, and their patron saint is Our Lady of the Rosary, who is Mediterranean. And where's the sound? Is there sound? Yeah, but it should be on now. He's talking. Anyway, what he's saying is, he's introducing the saints. The first one is Our Lady of Aparecida, Nossa Senhora do Aparecida, who's the patron saint of Brazil, and she just happens to be an Afro-Brazilian saint. Then you see Saint Benedict, the Moor, and Saint Iphigenia. So those are the Ethiopian saints in... So these are the Ethiopian saints. And when I went to the conference in Goa that changed my life in 2006 on the African diaspora in Asia, what I noticed was that I was aware that in Minas Gerais there were Ethiopian saints, Saint Benedict, who's from Palermo in Italy, but whose parents were presumably from Ethiopia, whatever Ethiopia meant in the 1600s. Right? So he was African of some sort. His parents were from Africa. He was born in Sicily. And Saint Iphigenia is a saint from the Coptic Church in Ethiopia. And then thinking about the African meetings, this person has on beads. So there are the beads of Our Lady of the Rosary, but then there are also beads that are clearly Orisha beads from the Yoruba culture of Bahia and elsewhere in Brazil. And he is going to sing a song. Ngoma, that's the key word in all this.
Ei, Nossa Senhora do Rosário, quando no mar apareceu, nego velho na beira da praia ajoelhou, mas chegou no tambu Ngoma que nossa mãe se assentou. Yeah.
So that's the title, right? Ngoma. So in Minas Gerais, these Afro-Brazilian Catholics of sorts, call their drums Ngoma. So here they're playing Ngomas, African drums, for Ethiopian saints. So back to the map, and we'll go the other way to Gujarat, to, where's Hamid? Hamid is in here someplace. Okay, there he is. Okay, there he is. So now we're in Gujarat, where there is also an Ethiopian saint, Baba Gore. And this saint was an agate merchant. And so I would like to know more. I don't know very much about this whole story, but I have a lot of questions about how did he become an agate merchant? Why agate? Where did he get the knowledge about agate. Apparently his role in terms of technology, and I'm very interested in the technology that Africans brought to the Americas and every place else they went in the world. So, Baba Gore came as an agate merchant and became a saint.
It's come from Baba Gore. Yeah, agate from Baba Gore. Yeah.
Agate from Baba Gore. So Baba Gore went to the village of Ratampur in Gujarat, and the people there were being tormented by a demoness. And so Baba Gore, with his spiritual powers, got rid of the demoness and was made into a saint. So there's a shrine for him where people come to get blessed, be healed, the kinds of things that saints do for you. So this is the shrine of Baba Gore, I hope, right, honey? And it is Siddhis who are in charge of the shrine for Baba Gore. Other Indians of various persuasions worship Baba Gore. And his sister, Manuska. And what do they play for him? Their Ngomas. So what I was struck by is the way in which culture of Southern Africa, Bantu essentially, and East African origin traveled both ways, and how Africans met Africans. What is also interesting to me is that in both cases, in Brazil as in Gujarat, African descendants play instruments with Bantu names for Ethiopian saints or Abyssinian saints. And so to me that really speaks to the ways in which Africans met other Africans in other places in the diaspora. Obviously in Brazil they became Christian, these people in India are Muslims, but they have a daily practice that is really Pan-African. And it's easy to just look at the African-based phenomenon in its own little place without considering which Africans met which Africans, what kind of environment did they meet each other in. It seems to me that if in these two places we have Bantu named instruments played for Ethiopian saints, there's much more of the African connection. There are more cultural phenomena than just the fact that the saint is from Ethiopia and the instrument has a Bantu name. For example, linguistically, I think the linguistics are really important. The captain from the Mozambique kingdom in Brazil sang in a language, and I said to him, "What are you singing in? I don't understand." And he didn't say it, but he could have said, "Yeah, me neither. I don't understand either." It was clear that he was singing in a Bantu language. There are more songs in some Bantu language in Minas Gerais. The culture is essentially, the phenomenon is called Congado or Congada, hence Kingdom of Congo. They have maintained their sense of royalty. The queens are more important than the kings. The kings are often the king for a year, whereas the queen is a queen for life. So the males are more administrative than real royals in Minas Gerais. I heard a word in Gujarat, and it's in Amy's film, I believe, that has to do with hair. What's the word, Hamid? When I heard Kingri, when I heard Kingri, I thought, do I recognize that word, Kingri, kinky? So, to me, that's symbolic of the fact that we need to look at we need to compare the directions in which African culture went from particularly the Bantu-speaking parts of Africa, since those are the majority of the Africans who got to travel, and to compare both sides of the African diaspora to see what kinds of elucidations we in the Americas can learn about the Africanity, say, of the Americas from what's going on in India. And I'm sure that today we'll all become aware of the fact that there are various Afro-Indian cultures in Hyderabad, in the center of the city, African Cavalry Guards neighborhood, in Karnataka, where people are more from Mozambique, Tanzania than from the Horn of Africa, as well as in Gujarat/Mumbai. And it will be interesting to understand more of the Pan-Africanisms on both sides of Africa.